Hello and a very warm welcome to Midday Prime. Over the next 1 hour, we'll bring you all the stories and updates from India and the world. We will update you about the happenings in the world of business and sports, and we'll get you some interesting stories that are making headlines. But first up, the big news at this hour. Supreme Court says government must be given some time to restore normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir on a petition seeking withdrawal of restrictions in the state. Apex Court questions the locus standi of the petitioner. Attorney General tells court the government is trying to restore normalcy at the earliest. Restrictions completely lifted in 5 districts of Jammu and limited to the night in 5 more districts of Jammu. J&K administration continues to make efforts to make basic commodities and facilities available to people of Kashmir. Over 5,000 calls made in a single day in Srinagar via public points for phone connectivity. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat asserts the army is always prepared to deal with any eventualities, as the forces have always enjoyed a good relationship with Kashmiris. Supreme Court turns down demands to extend deadline for the NRC final draft. Final NRC to be published on 31st August 2019. Big relief for Amrapali home buyers. Supreme Court asked Noida and Greater Noida authorities to start registration to give flats to flat owners. Relief and rescue operations in full swing in flood-affected areas of Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Situation improves in Maharashtra's Kolhapur and Sangli districts with floodwaters receding. And in international news, operations resume at Hong Kong airport even as hundreds of pro-democracy protesters stage a new rally at Hong Kong's airport. A top story this afternoon, the Supreme Court today heard a petition filed by Tehseen Poonawalla seeking withdrawal of curfew, blocking of phone lines, internet, news channels and other restrictions from J&K. Court asked the government how long you are going to continue this, on which the Attorney General replied, "We are reviewing the day-to-day situation. It is a highly sensitive situation. It is in the interest of everyone. Not a single drop of blood has been shed. No one has died." The Supreme Court finally posted the matter for hearing after 2 weeks. So that's the latest news that is coming in from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court refusing to pass any order as was sought by the petitioner on withdrawal of restrictions from Jammu and Kashmir. Our correspondent Vikas Sarthi is joining us for more on this. Vikas, was the Supreme Court of the view that the government should be given some time to be able to restore normalcy?
All right, Munmun, the Supreme Court was of the opinion that whatever decision government has taken is based on the ground realities of the valley. So far as these restrictions are concerned, Attorney General said that we want to bring all those services normal as early as possible. But everything will be done on assessing the ground situation. Apart from it, Attorney General also made a very important note that there are no incidents of extreme violence or any kind of violence. There is no loss of life, because some of the international media was reporting that there were violence reported and even some incident of gunfire. So these Attorney General refuted that there is not a single loss of life. Apart from it, Attorney General said that we are assessing the ground situation and government itself want to bring all services normal, and but everything will be based on the inputs which forces are receiving from the valley and the other parts of the state. Partial ease has been given at various places from the curfew. Special setups have been made for landline phone connectivity, and some other important organizations have been given limited internet accessibility. So these decisions have been taken by the government. Apart from it, even the Supreme Court was of the view that government must be given some time. In fact, court also asked the petitioner that whether he knows about the ground reality of the valley or not. Everything cannot be put before the court through a petition. Let the government respond to the situation in the valley, and this matter will be again taken up by the court after 2 weeks.
Because did the Supreme Court tell the petitioner as to what is his local standi in this case? Did the Supreme Court question the petitioner on this ground and also say that it was a badly drafted petition? So the Supreme Court seemed quite annoyed with the petitioner and the lawyer.
Well, courts asked petitioner that either he is an affected party, why he has filed such petition before the Supreme Court, though counsel of petitioner said that they are free to file such kind of petition. But apart from it, court also wanted to know from the petitioner whether the petitioner is aware of the current situation of the valley. Then if he is not aware of the current situation of the valley, then why should not he trust what government is saying, that all these steps have been taken as a precautionary measure. These restrictions have been eased in several parts, and step by step government will bring normalcy as far as these services are concerned. All these services will be restored once the government comes to know that everything has been all issues have been addressed by the local administration. There are no possibility of any kind of violence. The reason why these restrictions have been placed, Attorney General said that there are several messaging applications where people may forward fake news, fake videos, and this will certainly result in some violence. So any kind of possibility of violence because of fake videos, fake news, fake information, because of that, these restrictions have been placed on internet-based services. Apart from that, government has been providing partial reliefs in curfew, where situation is completely under control. Now the Supreme Court will assess the situation after 2 weeks. Meanwhile, court refused to pass any order, any direction to the center or the state administration.
Vikas, did the Supreme Court, when it was hearing the case, did the Attorney General tell the Apex Court about the situation in the valley after Burhan Wani's death, saying that there were around 40 odd people that had died in the protests in the aftermath of Burhan Wani's execution or killing really in an encounter with security forces? Did the government try to make the court understand the need for these precautionary measures, citing instances of the past and also saying that there are certain elements that are waiting for an opportunity to strike, and thus precautions at this point in time become extremely important?
Exactly, Munmun. The reason Attorney General gave to the court that there have been incidents. Because of that, both law officers, Attorney General and Solicitor General, pointed out that these are precautionary measures. We don't want any kind of disruption. We don't want any kind of violence in the valley. And because of that, these restrictions have been imposed. Once the government feels that everything is under control, there are no possibility of any kind of violence because of some unscrupulous elements or some vested interests, then all these restrictions will be lifted. But the government didn't give any specific timeline. Government says that we ourselves want to bring all those services to bring normalcy at the earliest. But everything will depend on the assessment made by the security forces and local administrations on the ground.
What happens to other petitions on this matter?
Well, Munmun, there are other petitions are also pending where the validity of the President order, the constitutional validity of that President order has been challenged, which abrogated the 370 article, but these petitions have not been heard yet. Today, the issue was very limited. The issue was limited to the clampdown, but what the petitioners were saying that there is a complete clampdown and the services are not normal. There have been restrictions. So this petition was only limited to those aspects only that government should take steps to bring normalcy as early as possible, and there should be a judicial commission to assess the situation in the valley. These were the grounds. So far as the constitutional validity of the President order is concerned, that matter has not been heard by the Supreme Court yet.
Okay, Vikas, thank you for those updates from the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the Jammu and Kashmir government has strongly refuted some reports in the media about firing by security forces and deaths or injuries, and has categorically denied that any firing incident took place in the state. The government in a press release has also reiterated that not a single bullet has been fired by security forces, nor has there been any casualty. It further said that the government is committed to maintaining peace and public order, and people have been most cooperative. Following peaceful Eid celebrations across various parts of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, prohibitory conditions are further relaxed in various parts. Jammu region is almost entirely free of restrictions. They, however, continue in parts of Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir's Principal Secretary Planning and Development Rohit Kansal has briefed the media on the entire situation. Let's listen in.
The Jammu region is almost entirely free of restrictions. Restrictions, however, do continue in parts of Kashmir based on local assessment. As I mentioned, the overall policy continues to be relaxations and easing out, and we are further hopeful that once the full dress rehearsal for Independence Day being carried out in various districts of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh concludes, there will be further relaxations. There have been concerns in some quarters about the functioning of medical services. I would like to emphasize that the functioning of all kinds of medical services, normal as well as emergency, in all parts of the Kashmir Valley continues to be normal and unhindered, both in Srinagar district and in all other districts of the valley. Routine OPDs, admissions and surgical procedures continue to be carried out. Medicines, both normal and emergency and life-saving drugs, are available in adequate supply. To just give you an example, figures for the last week from Srinagar district indicate that there have been nearly 13,500 OPDs, 1,400 admissions, 600 procedures of all kinds, and adequate availability of all drugs and medicines, including life-saving drugs. Health officials as well as district administration is continuously watching the situation. The national highway continues to function normally. On the main national highway, in the past 24 hours alone, we have had movement of 100 heavy vehicles, including trucks with supplies, oil tankers, gas tankers, LPG trucks. Similarly, we have had movement of 14 to 1500 LMVs as well as buses. Flight operations continue to be normal. As we speak, dress rehearsals for the forthcoming Independence Day are being carried out in all districts of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. And we hope that in all the districts, Independence Day celebrations will be carried out in a grand and befitting manner. Thank you very much.
So what about your response to the propaganda material which is being created to create a rift in between forces who are working day in and day night for the safety of people of Jammu and Kashmir?
As you are aware, and the IGP mentioned yesterday, due cognizance has been taken of all the fake handles and of any items which create disaffection, and it is being tackled at the appropriate levels, legally, procedurally, and through appropriate measures.
So one more query, is there a proposal that the government will also unfurl the national flag at Lal Chowk because this is what...
As I have mentioned, Independence Day celebrations have a certain system. It's a sober national festival and it will be celebrated with the respect and with the grandeur it deserves.
Thank you. Sir, can you tell us...
Well, I have nothing to say about specific individuals, But as I said yesterday, any arrests which have been made after a local assessment of the situation at a local level and strictly within the ambit of the law.
Sir, can you please confirm the government has said yesterday that 8 Twitter accounts might have been suspended related to the information around JNK. What might those accounts be? Are those individuals or organizations? And what is the criteria of...
Well, I can only say, as the IG said yesterday, and I just said in response to the question, that wherever our attention is drawn to any fake accounts or any attempts to spread disaffection or peddle misinformation or create mischief, they are being dealt with procedurally, legally and through all available measures with the government. देखिए, जहां तक कम्युनिकेशन की दिक्कतों का सवाल है और रीजनेबल रेस्ट्रिक्शंस का सवाल है, मैं बार बार आपको कह रहा हूं कि लोगों को फैसिलिटेट करने के लिए, सहूलियत देने के लिए 300 पब्लिक पॉइंट्स जो हैं मुख्तलिफ जगह पे बनाए गए हैं जहां से लोग बात कर सकते हैं अपने प्रियजनों के साथ. एंड जैसे मैंने कहा कि एक दिन में 5000 से ज्यादा कॉल्स की गई. एंड इट शैल बी आवर कांस्टेंट एंडेवर टू एंश्योर दैट पीपल आर नॉट ऑब्स्ट्रक्टेड, दे आर फैसिलिटेटेड इन एवरी पॉसिबल वे. देखिए, 15 अगस्त जो है एक राष्ट्रीय फेस्टिवल है. ग्रैंडियर, प्रोसीजर, सोबराइटी के साथ सेलिब्रेट किया जा रहा है. आज जम्मू कश्मीर, लद्दाख के सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में जो है ड्रेस रिहर्सल्स की जा रही हैं और संपूर्ण तैयारियां अच्छे तरीके से की जा रही हैं.
Jammu and Kashmir Police has said that some Twitter handles have been identified which are being operated from outside the state and spreading rumours. Speaking at a press conference on Monday, Inspector General of Police Kashmir SP Pani said that action is being taken against these Twitter handles.
We see some malicious campaign by on the social media platform being done, and that has been strongly refuted. And we also request citizens not to pay attention to any such kind of malicious campaign which is being done, which is being carried out by mischievous people. We have strongly denied this, and we have also taken up the matter with the service provider to take legal action as per the law.
Army Chief General Bipin Rawat has reiterated that the Army is always prepared to deal with any eventuality. Speaking to news persons, he said that precautionary deployment is always done and it should not be something to be concerned about.
हम सदा सतर्क रहते हैं, हम सदा तैयार रहते हैं. किसी तरह की कार्रवाई होगी तो हम उसके लिए तैयार हैं. ऐसे स्टेटमेंट से हमें कोई फिक्र करने की जरूरत नहीं है और ना आपको फिक्र करने की जरूरत है.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that peace is prevailing in Jammu and Kashmir after the end of special status.
मुझे लगता है कांग्रेस की हताशा है, निराशा है और दिशाहीन राजनीति है. करण सिंह, ज्योतिरादित्य, मिलिंद देवरा, आरपीएन सिंह और अन्य नेता, जनार्दन द्विवेदी नेता अलग बोल रहे हैं. चिदम्बरम, मणिशंकर अय्यर, ये लोग अलग बोल रहे हैं. अ पार्टी इन पेरिनियल कंफ्यूजन. सदा के लिए वो उनके स्टैंड का कोई पता नहीं लगता. लेकिन हम बताना चाहते, कश्मीर में आवाम को तरक्की मिलेगी और आवाम को सही में उनके अधिकार जो 70 साल डिनाई किए थे वो मिलेंगे और इसलिए वो खुश है. और इसलिए आपने देखा लोगों ने बहुत कोशिशें की या बहुत अपेक्षा उनकी थी कि बहुत गड़बड़ होगा, डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं हो रहा है. कल जिस तरह से बकरी ईद का पूरा लोग बाहर आए और जिस तरह से अदा किया अपना प्रेयर्स, तो ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है. कश्मीर बहुत जल्दी नॉर्मल होगा, यह हमें पता है और विश्वास है. लेकिन कुछ लोग उसमें फिलिस्तीनी अगर देखेंगे कि फिलिस्तीन बनेगा वगैरह, तो वो उनकी नकारात्मक सोच है और चिदम्बरम जी उसको कम्युनलाइज करना चाहते. ये घटिया राजनीति है.
India has told China that the developments pertaining to legislation passed recently by Parliament on Jammu and Kashmir is an internal matter for India. During a meeting with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Beijing, S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, said that India's decisions on J&K are country's internal matter and the sole prerogative of the country. In lieu of the recent developments in the constitution, the situation seems stable in Jammu and Kashmir. The festival of Eid ul-Fitr was celebrated with full religious zeal and energy yesterday. Normal movement on the streets was witnessed this morning and people were engaged in their daily routine. Our correspondent spoke to people in the valley on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir and the abrogation of Article 370.
कांग्रेस के कुछ नेताओं ने कल ऐसा कहा है कि कश्मीर का जो मसला है वो मुस्लिम मसला है, हिंदू मुस्लिम इसको रंग देने की कोशिश। क्या आपको लगता है कि कश्मीर का मसला हिंदू मुस्लिम मसला है?
हिंदू मुस्लिम मसला नहीं था। हम अच्छी तरह से यहाँ था, जैसा था वैसे ही रहना था। जो प्रोपेगेंडा था कि मतलब ये तोड़ने का ओढ़ने का वो ये उन्होंने बहाना है, ये कुछ नहीं है, ये बकवास है। अगर 90 साल हो गए या 80 साल हो गए या कुछ साल हो गए, कितने हो गए, क्या हो गए, आज तक हम उधर इधर अठिए मिल के रेट के बैठ के थे। हिंदू मुस्लिम कुछ नहीं है यहाँ पे।
कुछ नेताओं ने बयान दिया है दिल्ली में कि ये कश्मीर में जो कुछ हो रहा है, क्योंकि मुस्लिम स्टेट है, मुस्लिम यहाँ मेजॉरिटी है, तो उसको हिंदू मुस्लिम बनाने की कोशिश किया। क्या आपको लगा कि ये मसला हिंदू मुस्लिम मसला है?
जी नहीं, ये हिंदू मुस्लिम का मसला नहीं है। ये मसला बस ये है कि पब्लिक को, आम पब्लिक को प्रॉब्लम आ रही है। दुकानें खुल नहीं रही हैं, जिसके वजह से साग सब्जी कुछ मिल नहीं रहा है, खाने पीने की प्रॉब्लम आ रही है। अदरवाइज हिंदू मुस्लिम का कोई मैटर ये नहीं है।
आपको लगता है ये कश्मीर का मसला जो है वो क्या है? और क्योंकि कुछ लोगों ने बयान दिया कि ये हिंदू मुस्लिम का मसला है,
क्या बिल्कुल गलत है? ये बिल्कुल गलत है। आज तक 47 से आज तक 2019 तक कब तक यहाँ कश्मीर में हिंदू मुस्लिम उठ गया? अगर हिंदुस्तान में हर जगह पर हिंदू मुस्लिम उठ गया, कश्मीर वो स्टेट है, हिंदू को अपने घर में रखा, हर जगह हिंदू को अपने घर में रखा, पंडितों को अपने घर में रखा, सिखों को अपने घर में रखा। किसी हिंदू यहाँ तक आज तक 47 से आज तक कश्मीर में हिंदू मुस्लिम नहीं उठ गया। ये सियासत का मसला है और हमारे पास कुछ मसला नहीं है, और कश्मीरियों का मसला है।
2019 के लोकसभा चुनाव नतीजों से यह साफ हो गया कि देश की जनता क्या सोच रही है, ये कांग्रेस के नेता नहीं समझ पा रहे हैं। यानी देश की नब्ज से कांग्रेस अनजान है। और अब जम्मू कश्मीर के मसले पर भी जिस तरह से कांग्रेस के कुछ नेताओं ने कश्मीर के मसले को हिंदू बना मुस्लिम मसला बनाने की कोशिश की है, कश्मीरी आवाम ने उस थ्योरी को भी पूरी तरह से रिजेक्ट किया है और कहा है कि कश्मीर का मसला हिंदू बना मुस्लिम का मसला नहीं है। तो यानी साफ है कि न सिर्फ देश बल्कि जम्मू कश्मीर की आवाम से भी कांग्रेस पूरी तरह से कटी हुई है और अपने राजनीतिक फायदे के लिए इसे हिंदू मुस्लिम बनाने की कोशिश कर रही है। कैमरामैन राजेश रिकी के साथ अशोक श्रीवास्तव, जीरो ब्रिज, श्रीनगर, डीडी न्यूज।
The Indian Army has said that its troops are on high alert and is all prepared to deal with any untoward incident in the border areas, while adding that the situation is calm and peaceful in the Jammu region.
I wish to reassure that we are committed to defending our borders and safety of our people. The troops on the border are alert, fully prepared to respond to any misadventure by our adversary. Now, after the policy decisions of 5th of August, some restrictions were imposed on the Awam, but these were necessary for the safety of our people from those who were trying to disturb the peace and harmony through a misinformation campaign. Now, these restrictions have since been eased out, and I can assure you that there are no untoward incidents which have taken place in the Jammu region.
A full dress rehearsal has taken place ahead of Independence Day celebrations in Jammu and Kashmir. Take a look.
बड़ी संख्या में जम्मू कश्मीर
शेर कश्मीर क्रिकेट हमारे सरहद के मशरकी शिमाल मशरकी और मगरबी सरहदों पर इंतजाम किया गया पार्लियामेंट के अरेंजमेंट के बाद इन दोनों के बाद प्रशासन सीमा बल मनीष कुमार कमांडर
Our correspondent Neha Jalali is The meeting of the Election Commission of India to discuss the different aspects of delimitation of Jammu and Kashmir Assembly began on Tuesday. The discussion on various aspects of Jammu and Kashmir is a part of the general meeting chaired by Chief Election Commissioner and Election Commissioners. This is also the first meeting by the Election Commission on the topic, which comes in the backdrop of the withdrawal of Article 370, which granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir by the central government. Our correspondent Neha Jalali is now joining us from Jammu on the phone line. Neha, is the next challenge before the administration to ensure an incident-free Independence Day celebration. So most of the relaxations are already there, with most of the restrictions gone, as pointed out by Rohit Kansal, the top J&K bureaucrat.
Well, yes, as Rohit Kansal has already said, that most of the restrictions have been removed from many districts of Jammu region. Indeed, the next step will be to ensure that the incident-free celebrations of the Independence Day. As we can see that in various districts of the Jammu division, already dress rehearsals in Rajouri, Udhampur, Kathua, many districts have arrangements are being put in place, security arrangements are being made, as well as the dress rehearsals have also been going on since morning. And however, as we see that the situation, especially in these districts, it has actually it has already become normal. So nonetheless, there is no there's no chances that the security and the administration would like to take. So all the arrangements are being made for so that the proceedings of the Independence Day celebrations they do take place hassle-free.
Neha, are the people of Jammu looking forward to increased representation in Jammu and Kashmir via a delimitation exercise and also fast-track development? Because all this while they've been viewing that development has been Kashmir-centric and thus lopsided.
Well, yes, delimitation has in fact been one of the issues, one of the major demands of the people of Jammu, because they do see that whatever the political aspirations of the people of Jammu were, so they were not fulfilled because the overall the assembly, the structure of the assembly, the numbers of the inside the assembly, it was kind of lopsided. So that is what the people of Jammu region will definitely be looking up to, because Jammu also has, it has 10 districts, and all these, the constitution, the social constitution of this, the 10 districts of Jammu is actually very varied, ranging from Jammu, Poonch, the Gujars of Jammu and Poonch, to the people of the Jammu district, to the people of Kathua and Udhampur, and then there's Ramban, there's Doda, Kishwa. So these are all very varied districts. People of different, communities are present over here, and people who have been associated with different kinds of socio-economic sectors. They have been, so this kind of delimitation was in fact that was required. That was the demand of the people of Jammu, and something that the people of Jammu would be looking up to.
Absolutely, Neha. Thanks a lot for those updates from Jammu. Well, our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in Peching, where he had met his counterpart. And after the talks took place between External Affairs Minister and the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, there was a statement that was released by the External Affairs Ministry wherein it was pointed out that India believes that the abrogation of Article 370 is an internal matter, and that the developments in India with regard to abrogation of Article 370 have got nothing to do with making fresh territorial claims. They have got nothing to do with a line of control or the line of actual control. And India bluntly told China that their assessment of the situation should be based on ground realities and not based on Pakistani rhetoric. Our correspondent Abhishek Jha is joining us for more on this. Abhishek, India once again putting forth its point of view very, very sternly and in a very, very forthright manner, telling China this time that it should base its assessment of the situation in the region on the basis of ground realities and not on the basis of rhetoric by any country.
Exactly, Monu. This is probably the second time that very categorically and officially India has denied any concerns or any stand raised by China. Earlier, MEA has in its statement said that Chinese side should respect the fact that India does not mingle with the internal affairs of any other country, and India hopes that China would respect that in case of India also. And this time when External Affairs Minister Shankar is himself meeting his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, he has made it very clear and said that in no uncertain terms that the situation in Kashmir has been very much under the prerogative of constitutional provisions that India has, and there is nothing that should worry any other country, or any country should take any stand on this. One thing. The second thing, as Shankar has told his Chinese side, that the situation, that the apparent atmosphere that India-Pak tension is rising is being propagated by a rhetorical stand by Pakistani side, and it has nothing to do with India, because India has been always demanding and always readily agreeing to the fact that India wants to negotiate and talk out all the outstanding issues with Pakistan. Just the fact that India always wants that the talk should be in an atmosphere without fear of terror. And that is one condition that India has always said, that once the terror machinery of Pakistan propagandists stops, there can be an atmosphere where India and Pakistan can engage in any talk. And that has not happened. So these 2 points have been made very clear to the Chinese side when as Shankar has visited his counterpart, and he has met officials and the minister in China.
Absolutely, Abhishek. Thanks for those updates. With the rains relenting after battering the southern states over the past few days, rescue and relief works are on in full swing in flood-ravaged districts of Kerala and Karnataka. In Kerala, authorities are scoring landslide hit Kavalapara and Puthumala in Malappuram and Wayanad districts, the worst hit, to trace over 50 people missing since 8th August. Over 88 people have lost their lives in rain-related incidents across Kerala so far, while over 2.5 lakh people are taking shelter in various relief camps. Meanwhile, in Wayanad, Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan today visited the Mepadi relief camp. In Karnataka, the death toll was 48 till last evening, while 12 were still missing. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa, who is touring flood-hit areas of Dakshina Kannada and Mysuru districts, expressed hope that the situation in flood-hit parts will be back to normal in 4 to 6 days, as there had been a let-up in the rains. The flood situation in western Maharashtra has improved. Flood waters receded in Kolhapur and Sangli. The administration of both the districts are now focusing on providing essential supplies to people affected by the rain fury. The administration has started assessing losses to provide monetary assistance accordingly. And our correspondent Rashmi Rosa is joining us from Kerala to give us an update on the flood situation there. Rashmi, what is the status of the floods, particularly in Wayanad and Malappuram, that are facing the dual blow in a sense of not just floods but also landslides? Rashmi, can you hear me? Rashmi, if you can hear me, I was asking you the latest with regard to the flood situation in Kerala, especially in the worst hit Malappuram and Wayanad. Okay, Rashmi, we'll try and go across to you in a bit, but that was about the situation in Kerala. Let's take a look at the situation now in various parts of Maharashtra that is also battling floods. And from Mumbai, we are joined by correspondent Shama. Shama, what is the situation with regard to Maharashtra? I understand that in some of the districts, the flood waters have receded.
Hello.
Shama, if you can hear me, I was asking you the latest with regard to the flood situation in various parts of Maharashtra, with reports now coming in that in some districts like Sangli, the flood waters have receded.
Yes, Munmun, we saw that since 9 days that the rain had created havoc and wreaked havoc on Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli and other places in Maharashtra. The situation is getting under control. However, since the rescue operations have stopped, but the relief operations are still going on, and this is not from only the state agencies but also from various state NGOs, various private agencies that are coming forward, and we are also seeing that various medical camps have been set up in these areas, the flood affected areas, because we know for a fact that after the floods, a situation of illness and a situation of a disease like everywhere that happens because of the dirty water, dirty puddle and everything, and because of the leptospirosis and other illnesses. So medical camps have been set up, and till yesterday we got a number that more than 10,000 people have already been checked at various various medical camps set up all over these places. Also the flood waters have started now receding, but the rivers of Panchganga and Krishna river, the water in these rivers are flowing above the danger mark, and a situation of concern has already been prevailing in these areas. While we are talking about the relief operations, we are also seeing that a problem of clean water, clean drinking water has risen over in these places, and various agencies, various NGOs are coming forward and taking contributions, giving contributions to state agencies so that they can provide mineral water to these people, because water is mainly necessary in these places, because there is flood water, dirty water, and no availability or no source of clean water is available. We are also seeing that necessary food materials, necessary medicines are being provided to people which are there in these camps set up by the administration for people whose house have drowned, whose house have been underwater since the last 9 days. We are also knowing for the fact that in these areas more than because in the last 9 days more than 43 people have died because of these floods.
Yes,
and the situation, however, situation is getting into control, but a problem, but a concern of bad weather and more rains is hanging on the Satara area, Sangli area, because IMD has forecast that more rains are listed for Sangli, Satara in the next few days, few weeks.
Right.
Also, we are also getting to know that the Hatnur Dam in Jalna, in Jalgaon area rather, the 14 doors of this dam has opened completely, completely, and water of around 34,000, more than 34,000 cubic is flowing into the river. So a problem, a situation of concern is still on in these areas and all over Maharashtra.
Absolutely. So the flood situation is not good. It is a pretty bad situation still in several parts of Maharashtra, you're telling us, and the Met Department has forecast more rain for a few districts at least, and you're also telling us how good Samaritans are coming out in order to help people in such difficult times. Well, let's take a look at the situation in Kerala now, from where our correspondent Rashmi Roja is joining us. Rashmi, what's the situation there in terms of floods, especially in the worst affected Malappuram and Wayanad districts?
Well, Munmun, so far 88 deaths have been reported in the state, and the number of people staying in relief camps has kept on increasing. Now we have more than 2.5 lakh people residing in relief camps across the state. And as you rightly mentioned, Wayanad and Malappuram are the worst affected districts, and the Chief Minister of the state is visiting these two districts today to assess the relief and rehabilitation efforts. And generally, the intensity of the rains has been decreasing across several districts. But a red alert has been sounded for Idukki, Alappuzha, and Ernakulam. And tomorrow we have a red alert for Malappuram and Kozhikode districts. And also the Met Department has said that in the coming days, rain is likely to intensify across the southern parts of the state. We haven't seen much rains in Kollam and Tirunelveli so far, so in the coming few days, in the coming 3 days, we'll see heavy rains in these areas according to the Met Department. Munmun.
Rashmi, are there adequate supplies in relief camps? How many people are still housed in relief camps? And tell us about the rescue effort that must still be on in order to save people from such a situation.
Yes, Munmun, I've just mentioned 2.5 lakh people are residing in relief camps and collection centers like last time, like we have seen the last time. We have collection centers set up across the state to collect some essential supplies from the general public, and distribution of these materials is being undertaken across the state, not just by the state government, but also by voluntary organizations like the NCC, Seva Bharati, etc. And also the general public are involved in such efforts. And as to the rescue efforts, we briefed you about the landslides that happened in Malappuram and Wayanad some days back. Well, the recovery of dead bodies, the process for recovering dead bodies is still on in these two areas, where we believe more than 50 to 60 people are still buried. So, which means that death toll is likely to go up to maybe 100, 150 in the coming days.
Right, Rashmi, thank you for those updates from Thiruvananthapuram. Well, the Supreme Court has asked Noida and Greater Noida authorities to begin registration process to facilitate delivery of houses to owners. The court warned officials that those responsible for causing delay in this will be put behind bars.
कोर्ट ने नोएडा और ग्रेटर नोएडा अथॉरिटी को बड़ी स्ट्रांगली कहा, सीधे साधे शब्दों में कहें तो डांट लगाई कि आप एग्रीमेंट्स का क्या कर रहे हैं। जो होम बायर के साथ एग्रीमेंट्स होने हैं, जो 10 से 11 हज़ार लोग वहाँ रह रहे हैं, उनका एग्रीमेंट के बारे में अभी क्या प्रोग्रेस हुआ है। नोएडा और ग्रेटर नोएडा अथॉरिटी की तरफ से कहा गया कि उन्होंने कुछ स्टेप्स लिए हैं और हो सकता है कि तुरंत जितनी जल्दी हो, कुछ हफ्तों में जो लोग रह रहे हैं उनकी असुविधा दूर हो जाएगी, उनके एग्रीमेंट रजिस्ट्रेशन वगैरह पूरे हो जाएंगे।
Considering the Citizenship Act and rules, the Supreme Court in its interim order today said that the security aspects of the data involving NRC will get the same kind of treatment as of Aadhaar. The bench headed by Chief Justice of India Ranjan Gogoi said that only hard copies of lists of inclusions and exclusions to be provided at district offices. It added that the NRC is to be updated according to the law laid down in Section 66A judgment. The Bharatiya Janata Party has received another shot in the arm as 10 MLAs of the Sikkim Democratic Front or SDF have joined the BJP today in New Delhi. The 10 MLAs of the Sikkim Democratic Front joined in the presence of BJP's working president JP Nadda and BJP General Secretary Ram Madhav. Ram Madhav said that the move is well thought out.
एसडीएफ का जो लेजिस्लेचर पार्टी है वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी में शामिल होना है। इस विषय पर बीजेपी में विचार परामर्श करने के बाद माननीय अमित शाह जी के मार्गदर्शन पर आज कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष श्री जेपी नड्डा जी इन 10 विधायकों का जो एसडीएफ का विधायक दल है, जो 2/3 से ज्यादा संख्या में साथ आया है, उनको भारतीय जनता पार्टी में अभी शामिल किए हैं।
स्वच्छ भारत अभियान का संकल्प, संरक्षित हो जल, हर घर पहुंचे नल।
जल संकट को हमने गंभीरता से लेना होगा, पानी बचाना, हर घर को जल, इस मंत्र को लेकर के आगे बढ़ना है।
जल शक्ति समाचार सोमवार से शुक्रवार शाम 6:50 पर सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
A quick look at the day's top news. 100 big stories from across the country and the world in just 30 minutes. Watch Express News Monday to Friday, 7 p.m. only on DD India.
दिन भर की सुर्खियों पर नजर, देश दुनिया की 100 बड़ी खबर सिर्फ 30 मिनट में। एक्सप्रेस न्यूज सोमवार से शुक्रवार सुबह 9 बजे और रात 9:30 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
एक जाबाज जो दे जंगल के नियमों को चुनौती, जुड़ रहा है दुनिया के सर्वश्रेष्ठ प्रजातंत्र के प्रधानमंत्री से।
वेलकम टू इंडिया।
देखिए भारतीय इतिहास में पहली बार एक अनोखा अनदेखा मिलाप। हैवेल्स और इंडियन ऑयल को प्रेजेंट्स मैन वर्सेस वाइल्ड। देखिए बेयर ग्रिल्स और प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को 13 अगस्त मंगलवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर। डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और प्रसार भारती दूरदर्शन अब लाए हैं डीडी साइंस, 1 घंटा विज्ञान के नाम। हर रोज सोमवार से शनिवार शाम 5 से 6 बजे तक एक नए युग की शुरुआत। डीडी साइंस, हम देंगे हर सवाल का जवाब। जी हां, हर सवाल का जवाब अब आपकी स्क्रीन पर। डीडी साइंस, भारत सरकार का एक नायाब कदम।
दिन भर की सुर्खियों पर नजर, देश दुनिया की 100 बड़ी खबर सिर्फ 30 मिनट में। एक्सप्रेस न्यूज सोमवार से शुक्रवार सुबह 9 बजे और रात 9:30 बजे सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back. You're watching Midday Prime, and in Midday Prime, it's time for news and updates from the world of business. Well, Nancy, for all the latest business updates, it's over to you.
Absolutely, yes, Munmun, thanks. Let's take a look at all the business news. While Air India will soon become the first Indian airline to fly over the North Pole while connecting New Delhi and North America, and the inaugural flight over the polar region will take flight on the nation's Independence Day and fly from New Delhi to San Francisco. Well, according to the airline, passengers will benefit from the reduced flight times, the airline by conserving fuel, reduce travel time, improve aircraft utility, and reduce the carbon emission. And this will be one big achievement for the civil aviation in India, as none of the Indian airlines has ever done this. Currently, the route that the New Delhi to San Francisco flight takes goes over Bangladesh, Myanmar, China and Japan before crossing the Pacific Ocean to enter the US. And Reliance Industries Limited's chairman and managing director Mukesh Ambani unveiled his plans for the much-awaited Reliance New Commerce during the annual general meeting in integrating merchants, consumers and producers through a new digital platform. While the main purpose of New Commerce is to completely transform the unorganized retail market that accounts for 90% of India's retail industry. The merchant point of sale solution is integral to Reliance's plan to create an ecosystem around small merchants. And while this user-friendly digital platform is designed for inventory management, customer relationship management, financial services and other services. The GeoPrime partner, the POS, will modernize even the smallest neighborhood kirana shop to become a future-ready digitized store. And well, that's all the news from the world of business. Munmun, it's back to you for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Nancy, for that roundup. And now it's time for our next segment, Life Prime, where we bring you stories from the world of art, culture, cinema, fashion, science and innovation, stories that are bringing smiles, stories that are changing lives. The Colombian city of Medellin came into full bloom as scores of florists descended on the metropolis for a colorful flower festival with a local twist celebrating the art of floristry. Flower aficionados marched on Colombia's second city to show off elaborate floral arrangements, or siluetas as locally known. The annual flower parade reportedly harks back to 1957, when a Medellin local invited florists from nearby villages to march in the city to display their colorful arrangements. More than 60 years on, the humble parade has evolved into a prized event on Colombia's cultural calendar, with florists going all out on their siluetas. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar today dedicated Watan, a new patriotic music video by Doordarshan to the nation. A musical video song that celebrates New India was sung by playback singer Javed Ali. We leave you with this beautiful song. Thanks for watching.
माथे पे तेरे चांद का टीका लगाएंगे, आँखों में तेरी ख्वाब के तारे सजाएंगे। माथे पे तेरे चांद का टीका लगाएंगे, आँखों में तेरी ख्वाब के तारे सजाएंगे, होठों पे तेरे प्यार के नगमे खिलाएंगे। तू देखना वतन तुझे कैसा सजाएंगे, तू देखना वतन तुझे कैसा सजाएंगे, तू देखना वतन तुझे कैसा सजाएंगे, सजाएंगे, सजाएंगे। सुजलाम सुफलाम मलयज शीतलाम शस्य श्यामलाम मातरम वन्दे मातरम वन्दे मातरम। कदमों पे तेरे साथ गगन हम झुकाएंगे, कांधे पे तेरे जीत का परचम सजाएंगे, गलों पे तेरे शौर्य की लाली रचाएंगे। तू देखना वतन तुझे कैसा सजाएंगे।